Hello everyone, welcome to today's session on developing mathematical mindsets in the classroom. I'm thrilled to be here with all of you as we dive into the fascinating world of mathematics and the incredible growth potential of our brains. I am Tina Murthy with a master's degree in physics. I'm working as a PYP math coordinator and grade 5 HRT in Hyderabad, India. I have extensive experience teaching across various curricula like IB, CBSE, CGC, and IGCSE. I have had the privilege of teaching in different regions of India as well as in Switzerland. I believe that education should be a journey of exploration where students are active participants and should lead their own journey or own learning. My teaching philosophy centers around fostering an inquiry based approach that empowers student curiosity, critical thinking, and problem solving skills. Today, we have three important session objectives that we will be focusing on. Let's understand what we aim to achieve together. First objective is how our brains can expand their capacity to understand and excel in math. Second one talks about embracing mistakes. Unleash the power of mistakes in developing a growth mindset in math. In this session, we will explore the idea that making mistakes is not something to be feared or discouraged, but rather celebrated and embraced. We will delve into the fascinating concept of a growth mindset, understanding how it relates to mathematics learning. Last one is nurturing mathematical minds. We will develop and discover strategies and examples to cultivate a mathematical mindset in the classroom. I am excited to embark on this journey with all of you, and I'm confident that by the end of this session, we will have a deeper understanding of how to unlock the growth potential of our students' brains in maths. Let's get started and make the most of this valuable learning experience together. This session is deeply influenced by the renowned mathematician Joe Bowler's book, Mathematical Mindsets. If you have the opportunity to explore this book, I highly recommend it. Throughout our session, I will be drawing insights from several chapters in this book, discussing key concepts, and sharing practical strategies I have implemented in my classroom to nurture mathematical thinking. By exploring the ideas presented in this book, we will gain valuable insights into fostering a growth mindset and promoting mathematical success. I'll be sharing some examples of how I have applied these principles in my own teaching practice and the positive impact it has had on my students' mathematical development. So let's begin by contemplating a fundamental question. What is mathematics? When we hear the word mathematics, what immediately springs to our mind? Perhaps we think of numbers, rules, calculations, mathematical symbols, or equations. Often we tend to view math as a subject that revolves around finding right or wrong answers. Also, math is frequently perceived as a performance based subject where success is measured by our ability to solve problems quickly and accurately. Now, I would like to ask you, do these answers resonate with your own thoughts and perceptions about maths? Today, we are here to challenge these kind of misconceptions about mathematics. Let's explore a different perspective on what math truly is. Math is a study of patterns. Math is more than just numbers and calculations. At its core, math is a profound study of patterns. It helps us understand the underlying structures and relationships that govern the world around us. By recognizing these patterns, we can make predictions, solve problems, and uncover hidden connections in various disciplines. We are going to explore those. Math is an aesthetic, creative, and beautiful subject. Contrary to popular belief, math possesses an inherent aesthetic quality. As Keith Devlin noted in 1997, mathematics is an art form. It is a creative pursuit that allows us to explore and appreciate its inherent beauty. Mathematical concepts, theories, and proofs, they can be elegant, harmonious, and captivating. Embracing the beauty of math can ignite our curiosity and deepen our appreciation for the subject. Take the concept of fractals. Integrate mathematical shapes that exhibit self similarity at different scales. The Mandelbrot set is a prime example with its intricate and visually stunning patterns. Appreciating the aesthetics of math allows us to see the elegance and beauty that lies within its structures, fostering a deeper connection and appreciation for the subject. Math is about explorations, conjectures, and interpretations. It is not solely about rigid rules, fixed procedures. It is dynamic, an evolving field that thrives on exploration, conjectures, and interpretations. Mathematicians often engage in conjectures, forming educated guesses about mathematical truths. Imagine investigating the collage conjecture, a problem in number theory that proposes a simple algorithm, starting with any positive integer, if it is even, divided by 2. If it is odd, multiplied by 3 and add 1. Repeating this process, the conjecture states that all numbers will eventually reach 1. You can try it out. Exploring this conjecture involves testing various starting values, forming hypotheses, and searching for evidence to support or challenge this conjecture, showcasing the explanatory nature of maths. Math encourages us to think critically, ask questions, and engage in intellectual discovery. It does not yield always, like it does not always yield definite answers. I believe it to some extent, yes. But unlike some subjects where answers are clear cut, math embraces a realm of uncertainty and open endedness. Many math problems do not have a single right answer. Consider the concept of prime numbers. While we know the prime numbers are divisible only by 1 and themselves, their distribution among all numbers remains a mystery. The question of whether there is an infinite number of prime numbers is still an open problem in math, highlighting the ongoing quest for answers and the recognition that all math questions have definite solutions. That encourages flexibility in thinking and it nurtures problem solving skills that goes beyond finding the answer. Math teaches us to appreciate the process of exploration and the diverse approaches to problem solving. Have you ever pondered how mathematical patterns have played a vital role in shaping our world? The knowledge of these patterns have enabled us to navigate vast oceans, chart missions to space, develop the technology that powers our cell phones and social networks, and even create groundbreaking scientific and medical discoveries. Throughout history, mathematicians have relied on their creative thinking to push the boundaries of knowledge. From the genius of Pythagoras to the visionary insights of Ada Lovelace, their creativity has transformed the world and left lasting impact on humanity. We will celebrate these historical achievements of great mathematicians and explore how their creativity has shaped our modern world. I'm confident that what you're seeing on your screen right now, many of you are familiar with this sequence or pattern, if you say that. It's none other than the renowned Fibonacci sequence, one of the most famous number sequences in mathematics. This sequence has captivated the minds of mathematicians and enthusiasts for centuries. The credit for introducing the Fibonacci sequence goes to an Italian mathematician named Fibonacci, who published this pattern in Italy in the year 1202. However, fascinatingly enough, research has revealed that this sequence appeared even earlier, as far back in like 200 BC in ancient India. Now let's delve into the sequence itself and explore its relevance in the natural world. The Fibonacci sequence is generated by starting with the numbers 0 and 1, and each subsequent number is obtained by adding the two previous numbers. So it goes like this, like 0 plus 1 gives you 1, and then 1 plus 2 gives you 3, 3 plus 5 gives you 8, 5 plus 8 gives you 13, and then so on. So what makes this Fibonacci sequence truly remarkable in its appearance in various aspects of nature? It's almost as if the pattern is woven into the fabric of our natural world, from the arrangement of leaves on a stem to the spirals of the seashell. The Fibonacci sequence manifests itself in stunning ways. For instance, take a close look at the arrangement of leaves on a plant stem, like any. So you will notice that the leaves often grow in spiral pattern, and if you count the number of spirals in each direction, you will often find consecutive Fibonacci numbers. This pattern ensures that each leaf gets optimal exposure to sunlight and space for growth. Another mesmerizing example is a spiral pattern found in the growth of seashells. If you examine the spirals, you will often find that the number of spirals in one direction is a Fibonacci number, while the number of spirals in the other direction is also a Fibonacci number. This occurrence of the Fibonacci sequence in nature is not limited to plants and seashells. It can be observed in the branching of trees, the petal of flowers, the arrangement of pine cones, and even the proportions of the human body. The presence of the Fibonacci sequence in nature highlights the profound connection between math and the natural world. It reminds us that mathematical patterns, like these patterns, govern the very fabric of our surroundings, adding a touch of elegance and harmony to everything we see. Let's take our journey one step further and uncover its fascinating connection to another mathematical marvel, the golden ratio. You might have heard about it. So, golden ratio, often represented by the Greek letter phi, and it's an irrational number which is approximately equal to 1.6180. It has a bit more numbers. So it is a mathematical concept that has intrigued mathematicians, artists, and architects throughout history due to its aesthetic appeal and harmonious proportions. The connection between the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio lies in their intrinsic relationship. If we take any two consecutive numbers in the Fibonacci sequence and divide them, we get an approximation of the golden ratio, 1.618. As the numbers in the Fibonacci sequence gets larger, the ratio between consecutive terms converges towards the golden ratio. And this link between the two can be observed in various natural phenomena and artistic creations. For instance, consider this shell. The spiraling this these spiral chambers of the shell follow a logarithmic spiral, which corresponds to the golden ratio. The proportions of Parthenon, if I'm saying it right, the renowned ancient Greek temple, are also believed to be influenced by the golden ratio. Its architects ingeniously incorporated this ratio into the design, creating a sense of balance and visual harmony. The connection between these two showcases how math concepts can transcend theoretical boundaries and manifest themselves in the world around us. By exploring this connection, we can develop a deeper understanding of the profound influence mathematics has on art, nature, and human creativity. It also allows us to appreciate the intricate relationship between math and aesthetics. Let's continue our exploration of the creative and beautiful aspects of math and embrace the infinite possibilities it presents. Now let's delve into something truly enchanting. I'm sure everybody loves snowflakes, the mesmerizing world of snowflakes, I'm sure. We all know that each snowflake is unique, but do we know that they all are united by a single underlying pattern? Snowflakes exhibit a captivating symmetry. I'm sure you all have explored that already. But they all follow a general shape that resembles a hexagon. This intriguing pattern is not a mere coincidence. There's a scientific reason behind it. Snowflakes are what? They're water, right? They're composed of water molecules. And when water freezes, it undergoes a transformation that results in a pattern of repeating hexagons. So this remarkable phenomenon occurs due to the geometric properties and arrangement of the water molecules themselves. The symmetry and hexagonal shape of snowflakes exemplify how mathematical patterns are woven into the very fabric of the natural world. It reminds us once again of the profound connection between math and nature. I'm going to show you something very interesting. What if I say that dolphins could be the algebra teachers? Sounds unconventional, right? Dolphins communicate using their characteristic clicking sounds, which bounce off objects and echo back to them. By analyzing the time it takes for the sound to return and its quality, dolphins can determine the location of their friends. Isn't it amazing? In essence, they are intuitively calculating a rate, a concept that students often encounter repeatedly in algebra class, seemingly disconnected from real life situations. So, if dolphins could speak human languages, their inherent understanding of these rates could make them excellent algebra teachers. By drawing this conclusion between dolphins and algebra, Joe Bowler tried to highlight the importance of bridging the gap between abstract mathematical concepts and real world applications in her book. If dolphins are algebra teachers, then spiders would be the engineers. While it may sound peculiar, spiders exhibit remarkable expertise in the realm of spirals. I'm sure you must have seen the web and you can see it on your screen as well. So, when a spider weaves its web, it follows a fascinating process that showcases their innate engineering skills. Let's see how. To construct its web, a spider typically begins by creating a star shaped structure between two sturdy vertical supports, such as tree branches. Once the star shape is established, the spider proceeds to construct a spiral. The purpose of this spiral is to strengthen the initial star structure as quickly as possible because that's its um, foundational shape. In a fascinating display of mathematical intuition, the spider chooses to create a logarithmic spiral. Logarithmic spirals have a unique property where the distances between each successive turn around the center increase by the same factor every time. And this results in the spiral expanding outward more rapidly as it grows larger. However, this logarithmic spiral design leaves gaps in the web. So, to address this, the spider initiates a second, denser spiral. This new spiral is an arithmetic spiral where the distances between the turns of the spiral remain constant. This incredible feat of engineering could be meticulously constructed using calculations. But the spider intuitively applies mathematical principles to create and utilize its own algorithm. It inspires us to appreciate the elegance and efficiency with which mathematical patterns and algorithms can be naturally applied. So, now something to reflect on. Are we truly exposing our students to the full spectrum of mathematics? Are we providing them with opportunities to make these kind of meaningful connections with nature or art? It is unfortunate that many students harbor a fear of math, while teachers themselves may also feel apprehensive about teaching the subject. And I really and I hear it out, especially in PYP. It happens. And this fear stems from the perception that math is solely about numbers and calculations. However, if we open our students' eyes to the real face of math, like I've just shown you, the connection between the one which exists between within nature, art, and the world around us. Don't you think that we can ignite a sense of wonder and curiosity within them? If we start understanding that math is not just a subject of isolated answers, instead, it is a profound exploration of patterns, connections, and problem solving. I'll not deny that, I too have shared this fear and hesitation towards math. I did have this. But there was one particular teacher, Mr. John, who made a profound impact on my understanding of math during my 11th and 12th. So I'm really thankful to him to show me math in a completely different way. Ruben Hirsch, a mathematician, addresses this issue in his captivating book, What is Mathematics Really? He argues that classrooms often misrepresent the true nature of math. Students tend to view math as a mere series of answers to questions that nobody has asked. But if we provide students with opportunities to pose their own mathematical problems, to establish connections with the real world, we can transform their perception of math. I'm quite sure of it. By allowing them to experience the application and relevance of math firsthand, I think we can empower them to overcome their fear and develop a genuine appreciation for the subject. When we limit our teaching of math to narrow numerical calculations, we deny our students the chance to, to encounter the breadth and beauty of this subject. So, what exactly, like I've been talking about this math, and the topic here is that mathematical mindset. So, developing mathematical mindset. So, what exactly it is? It involves adopting an active and conceptual approach to learn math, rooted in the growth mindset theory proposed by Carol Dweck. With a mathematical mindset, students view their role as understanding and making sense of mathematical concepts, not just doing it. As educators, we have the incredible opportunity to cultivate this mathematical mindset within our students. And by encouraging them to explore and engage with mathematical ideas, I think we can instill a belief in their own abilities to learn and take out the fear of maths from their heart and mind. Um, in this book, what I've mentioned about from Jo Bowler, she has pointed out that mathematical thinking activates multiple regions of the brain, notably the prefrontal cortex, which plays a crucial role in problem solving, working memory, and logical reasoning. Now, we will dive into three aspects here, connecting them to the intricate relationship between the brain and math. And we will explore how the brain has a remarkable ability to change and adapt its structure and function in response to learning experiences. We'll gain a deeper understanding of the cognitive processes at play, like playway learning, and the strategies that can enhance students' mathematical learning experiences. Different brain regions work together when solving a problem, like different regions are working together. So we can use an analogy that can be used to illustrate how different brain regions work together in math. We can compare it with well coordinated orchestra. In an orchestra, various musicians play different instruments, and each is responsible for producing a distinct sound. Right? In the same way, different brain regions have specialized functions, contributing to the overall process of mathematical thinking. Just as the conductor guides and coordinates the musicians, the prefrontal cortex takes on a similar role in math. It acts as a conductor, orchestrating the various brain regions involved in problem solving, working memory, or in logical reasoning, or whatever you're doing. The prefrontal cortex ensures that different areas of the brain work harmoniously together to tackle mathematical challenges. The hippocampus, like a skilled violinist, helps with memory and learning. It stores and retrieves mathematical information, enabling us to recall concepts and procedures as and when needed. The synapses, akin to the connections between musicians, facilitate communication between different brain cells. They allow information to flow seamlessly, just as the musicians in an orchestra rely on their connections to play in sync. So, just as an orchestra's performance requires a synchronization and collaboration of multiple musicians playing different instruments, mathematical thinking relies on the coordinated efforts of various brain regions. I often consult with my daughter, like who is in upper primary, to gain insight into how my students might feel or respond in that particular situation. So recently, I was just talking to her, having a casual conversation, and I asked her like, "What is the best time for you to study, or how what motivates you to study?" And she replied, "I love to study, or I love to do anything which challenges me." That dawned on me, and I started thinking, like, when students are faced with challenges, their minds become ignited with sparks or synapses. These sparks occur constantly, whether they are actively engaged in tasks, laughing, sleeping, or even engaged in conversation. These synapses play a crucial role in the development of a mathematical mindset. Every moment of the day, our brain's synapses are firing, and the students who grow up in stimulating environments surrounded by growth mindset messages believe they are capable of achieving anything. This book it presents a fascinating example that vividly illustrates the impact of these synapses on the brain. The case of black cab drivers in London. In a research study, highly qualified black cab drivers underwent extensive training. They memorized an astonishing number of streets and landmarks. The results showed that their hippocampus, a region which I just said, like a region associated with memory and spatial navigation, significantly increased in size during their training period. However, upon retirement, the same returned to its original size. These findings have significant implications for education. They highlight the importance of high quality teaching and support in enabling all children to achieve high level of mathematical proficiency. The research demonstrates that with the right guidance and opportunities, anyone, mark my word, anyone can develop their mathematical abilities to remarkable levels. And this understanding empowers us, teachers, to provide the necessary teaching and support that every child deserves, fostering a belief in the potential of all students to excel in maths. Extensive scientific evidence indicates that success is not solely determined by innate intelligence, but is influenced by one's approach to life, the messages received about their potential, and the opportunities for learning. It is not just the brains we are born with that shape our outcomes. Students who embrace a growth mindset, however, exhibit more favorable brain activity when confronted with mistakes. Their brains demonstrate increased activation across multiple regions, highlighting heightened attention to errors and a great focus on correcting them. This suggests that a growth mindset fosters a more positive and resilient response to challenges. To cultivate a mathematical mindset within the classroom, educators can incorporate strategies that encourage a growth mindset. For example, instead of focusing solely on getting correct answers, teachers can emphasize the importance of effort and learning from mistakes. They can provide opportunities for students to reflect on their problem solving strategies and highlight the process of learning rather than focusing on the final outcome. In the context of math, teachers can engage students in problem solving activities that encourage them to explore different approaches, ask questions, and collaborate with their peers. They can create a classroom environment where mistakes are seen as valuable opportunities for growth and learning, which will lead to growth mindset. By celebrating the process of learning and emphasizing the development of mathematical understanding, students are more likely to embrace a growth mindset, and then they will experience the joy of mathematical exploration. The second part, we'll be looking into the power of mistakes as a second learning outcome for this session. So, power of mistake lies in their potential to ignite growth and foster a mathematical mindset. Carol beautifully captures this idea when she states, every time a student makes a mistake, they grow a synapse. So instead of perceiving mistakes as failures, they should be embraced as invaluable stepping stones for learning and development. So when we make a mistake, our brain has two remarkable responses. The first one is known as ERN, error related negativity response, where the brain exhibits increased electrical activity when it encounters a conflict between a correct response and an error. And interestingly, this brain activity occurs whether or not we are consciously aware of the error we have made. The second response is PE, post error response. It reflects conscious attention to mistakes, and it arises when we are aware that an error has been made and intentionally focus on understanding and correcting it. Joe Boller highlights that our brains spark and grow even when we make mistakes unconsciously. Because that the struggle itself challenges the brain, fostering its remarkable growth. So when students recognize that mistakes are an essential and inevitable part of the learning of their learning process, they become more willing to take risks. They would like to explore multiple problem solving strategies, and they will engage in critical thinking. And this shift in mindset towards the growth mindset allows them to embrace challenges with confidence because they know that mistakes are not setbacks, they are the opportunities for their intellectual growth. There was a research study on successful and unsuccessful business people, and it revealed a surprising finding. It is not the number of successes that sets them more successful, but rather the number of mistakes they make. In fact, the more successful individuals tend to make a higher number of mistakes. And this idea holds true within the context of developing a mathematical mindset in the classroom as well. Consider the example of Starbucks. I'm sure like everybody knows about it. It's the renowned coffee brand. So during its early stages, Starbucks faced challenges and they made mistakes like implementing uncomfortable bow ties for servers and playing loud opera music in their stores. They analyzed customer feedback, they reflected on their mistakes, and adjusted their strategies accordingly, which developed the attitude of keep going. Just as Starbucks adjusted their approach based on customer feedback, students can also adjust their problem solving strategies based on the feedback given by the teachers, and they could reflect how can they work on it. So by analyzing their mistakes, seeking patterns and making connections, students actively engage in mathematical thinking, and that's how they can develop a growth oriented mindset. According to Peter Sims, a renowned writer for the New York Times, embracing mistakes is crucial for fostering creative and entrepreneurial thinking. Sims highlights the fact that imperfection is an inherent part of both creativity and lifestyle. However, our culture often cultivates a paralyzing fear of failure, leading to inaction and a rigid pursuit of perfection. This fear of failure is the most disempowering mindset one can have when seeking to unleash their creative and inventive potential. So let's break free from this fear and embrace the power of mistakes as building blocks towards greater creativity and innovation. So let's remember that a mathematical mindset goes hand in hand with the keep going mentality. So let's keep going. Teaching students that mistakes are valuable and positive can have an incredibly liberating impact on their learning journey. I came across a remarkable learning engagement in this book that I would like to share with all of you. In this particular example, a teacher shared an innovative activity with her students. At the start of the class, she asked the students to crumple a piece of paper and throw it at the board, symbolizing the emotions they experienced when making a mistake in math. This action allowed the students to express their feelings and often, frustration or disappointment. Afterward, the teacher encouraged the students to retrieve their crumpled papers and carefully smooth out. She then provided them color markers and asked the students to trace all those crumpled lines on the paper. And she told them these lines represented your brain growth and the neural connections as as you were going through challenges and learned from your mistakes. This powerful activity visually represented the growth and resilience that arise from embracing mistakes. It provided a tangible reminder that mistakes are not indicators of failure. By associating those couple lines with brain growth, the teacher instilled in her students the understanding that mistakes lead to cognitive development and expansion. So, drawing inspiration from these effective practices, I came up with the idea of implementing a mistake wall in my classroom. So, tomorrow we are going to start our academic year, and the highlighting part in my classroom is going to be that mistake wall because it is not going to only celebrate math mistakes, but it's going to cultivate a culture of embracing and celebrating mistakes in general in my class. And I'm sure it's going to provide a moment for students to reinforce a crucial message that when you make a mistake, it's a positive occurrence because it is going to signify that you were in a stage of cognitive struggle and it is going to spark growth within your brains. It will also add to that, sharing and discussing mistakes is highly beneficial. By openly addressing mistakes, we create an inclusive environment where students feel comfortable acknowledging their errors. This is important because when one student make a mistake, it serves as a reminder that others are likely encountering similar challenges. So it is worth noting that brain growth occurs when students make mistakes, not when they arrive at the correct answers. So, by integrating this mistake wall into my classroom practices, I'm going to foster a growth mindset and encourage students to embrace the inherent value of mistakes. So, if anybody would like to take this idea, you're free to do that. And I'm sure, when babies or the younger kids, whenever they're given a set of blocks, they instinctively engage in building and arranging them. And this innate curiosity and fascination lay the foundation for our students' mathematical journey. So it's very crucial to foster this mindset right from the start. It encourages students to play with numbers, shapes, explore patterns, and develop their own ideas. Developing a mathematical mindset requires students to perceive math as a conceptual and dynamic subject that invites critical thinking and sense making. So, how can we cultivate this in our classrooms and can instill a willingness to approach math with curiosity and understanding? So let us explore some examples and strategies that can be implemented in the classroom easily. So I'm going to share that now. Teachers are the most influential resource for students as they have the power to create engaging mathematic environments, provide students with positive affirmations, and transform any math task into one that sparks curiosity and interest. So, in what I do in my classroom, we begin each session with a around 10 minute of routine, which is known as number talks. I'm sure many of you are aware of these number talks. We're just going to recall and how I do it. So, this routine aims to develop students' ability to mentally reason with numbers. The impact of these number talks has been transformative, altering the way students perceive math and their potential, own potential for success. In fact, some students enjoy this part of my class so much that if I forget to conduct a number talk or if sometimes I'm trying to avoid it because of time constraint, they eagerly remind me. We all know the four basic operations of math, right? So in the context of number talk, here on your screen you can see the arrow which represents the methods to be learned, while the boxes represent the concepts being explored. So, as students begin their mathematical journey, they first learn to count, acquiring an understanding of number order and names. Additionally, they develop the concept of number itself, grasping the idea that numbers represent quantities. So, in the initial stages of learning to add numbers, students are introduced to a method called counting on, and then they develop the concept of sum. This is not a method of addition, it's a conceptual idea. So, in the next stage, students may learn to add groups of numbers and then they develop the concept of a product. Again, this is not a method of multiplication, it's a conceptual idea. So, the idea of a number, sum, and product, these are the concepts in math that students need to think deeply about. As I mentioned earlier, mathematics or math often appears to be a subject of absolutes where there's a clear distinction between it's right, if the answer could be right or could be wrong. This misconception is prevalent among both adults and children. However, math encompasses so much more than mere correctness, and when your students grasp this, it can be truly transformative. The focus must shift to the thinking process rather than the final answer. And number talks provide a perfect platform to reinforce this understanding. Now, I'm going to give you five major reasons why number talks are invaluable. As you can see that, the first one, it talks about math's flexibility. It will promote that concept. So sometimes the most insightful strategies come directly from students. Children often perceive things differently from adults, and it can be captivating to listen to their problem solving approaches when given the opportunity to share. Unfortunately, classrooms often lack the time for students to express their thinking and learn from one another rather than solely relying on the teacher or worksheets. So, listening, sharing, reflecting on classmate strategies are among the most critical aspects of a number talk. The second one talks about students gain new problem solving strategies through peer collaboration, as I was talking about. So, some students never speak up in math class. They might have the math anxiety or fear of giving incorrect answers. The beauty of math talk lies in the shift of this emphasis from being right or wrong to focusing on the thinking process. In certain types of math talk, there may not be a definite right answer. So, when students realize this, it can be empowering. They will feel more comfortable speaking up because as long as they can justify their answer, the possibility of being wrong diminishes. The next one talks about conceptual understanding. So we recognize the importance of conceptual understanding, but finding time to cultivate and reinforce it can be challenging. I completely understand the time constraints all schools or all teachers have. But so there comes number talks as a savior. The number talks provide an ideal opportunity to address this need. So by exploring various problem solving methods, now students are compelled to think strategically and flexibly. This process aids in the development of a strong conceptual foundation, which serves as the bedrock for their number sense. So, when students genuinely understand math instead of simply memorizing it, they gain the confidence and ability to solve a wide range of problems. In a number talk, all students and the teacher are equal. So, there's an equitable learning environment. No one no one is solely the teacher, and no one is considered better than the others. It is a time for sharing, listening, and reflecting. Students may comment, oh, I understand how my friend is thinking. Oh, they added instead of subtracted. I like that strategy. Or they could say, like, I'm not quite following my students anybody's name strategy. Can you explain it again? So, in a number talk, everyone learns, including the teacher. It can be empowering for students to realize that number talk time provides a safe space where answers are not judged as right or wrong, but respected and reflected upon. Let's explore another example of a number talk. Focusing here, the focus is on the problem of 18 multiplied by 5 and its various solutions. This particular example is drawn from this book, and it illustrates the visual approaches to solving 18 multiplied by 5. Joe Bowler utilizes this example to highlight the flexibility and openness inherent in mathematics. So, math is often seen as a subject, I've been saying it, that demands precision and exactness. However, when this precision is coupled with creativity, flexibility, and a multitude of ideas, math truly comes alive. Teachers have the power to create this mathematical excitement in the classroom by encouraging students to explore different ways of perceiving and solving tasks. So, just as example of solving this 18 is multiplied by 5 in different ways demonstrates, as you can see, that math is not confined to a single approach or solution. It embraces the power of multiple perspectives, inviting students to view problems from different angles and find creative pathways to solutions. By nurturing this openness and flexibility in the classroom, teachers empower you can empower students to see math as a vibrant and living subject that offers boundless opportunities for exploration and discovery. Now, this task was created by Ruth Parker, and it presented students with a fascinating challenge involving a growing pattern made of multi-link cubes. And the objective was to extend the pattern and determine the number of cubes in the hundredth case and eventually the nth case. In this particular example, she shared the story of three boys who had previously struggled academically and displayed disruptive behavior. So, however, something remarkable happened, like, when they were given this task. So, against all expectations, these three boys dedicated an astonishing 70 minutes to working on this task without any interruptions or distractions. They engage in a profound conversation about number patterns, visual growth, and algebraic generalization. She encouraged the students to think visually, focusing on the patterns rather than solely relying on numerical calculations. So she encouraged them to sketch their observations in their journals, illustrating where they noticed additional cubes in each case. That's the power of visualization. Like, how do you see? Everybody see the task differently. Some students observed the growth pattern extending to the bottom, and that resembled the bowling alley, while others identified the growth pattern reaching to the top, like raindrops. Many other growth patterns were identified as students shared their understandings, as you can see in that picture, where everybody came up with their own way of explaining this growth pattern. And this powerful example demonstrates the qualities that our learning engagements should possess. The task presented here was intellectually stimulating, pushing the boundaries of students' understanding and inviting them to explore new concepts. However, it was designed in a way that made it accessible to students, enabling them to engage with it despite whatever their previous academic challenges were. This task was engaging and open thinking. It captured the students' interest and captivated their attention for an extended period. It promoted open thinking, encouraging students to explore different perspectives and propose creative ideas. The rich conversation that ensued allowed for a deeper understanding and appreciation of the mathematical concepts at play. It also encouraged mistakes, which proposed ideas. So, Parker created an environment where students felt safe to propose ideas and contribute to the discussion without fear of making mistakes. And this fostered a sense of confidence and empowered the students to actively participate in this learning process. So, I'll also discuss a few more things on visualization and how it can help you to develop mathematical mindset in the classroom. So, engaging students in rich mathematical tasks that encourage visualization, it unlocks the power of their imagination. It allows them to explore the concepts in a visual and intuitive way. So, let's see the if it is about patterns. Like let's visualize patterns. So you can provide students with a sequence of numbers or shapes and ask them to visualize the pattern's growth or transformation. For example, students can observe a number pattern and predict the next numbers or identify the rule governing that sequence. Visual representations, so you can use visual models such as arrays, bar models, or area diagrams to help students understand mathematical concepts. For example, when you're introducing multiplication, students can use arrays to visualize the concept of equal groups. If it is about geometry, you can engage students in activities which can involve visualizing and manipulating geometrical shapes. For instance, you can ask students to mentally rotate, reflect, or translate shapes to explore their properties and relationships. We all love data handling, I'm sure. So let's have data visualization. Like, you can present students with real world data sets and challenge them to create visual representations such as bar graphs or line plots or pie charts, whichever. And this activity will allow students to interpret and analyze data visually, and it will foster data literacy skills. Another one is problem solving visualization, where you can encourage students to use visual diagrams or models to represent and solve complex problems. For instance, in a word problem involving ratios, students can draw a visual representation, which will help them to understand and solve the problem better. So, by incorporating these activities, you can provide students with a concrete and visual framework to explore mathematical concepts. And this approach encourages students to think creatively. They will be able to make connections and eventually they will develop a mathematical mindsets. So if in your class students are able to visualize numbers visually, I think you get it. Now I will be talking about three tasks which are there directly to develop mathematical mindset. So the first one is, in this task, students are becoming mathematical master chefs, like just to give them a fancy name, because they're going to explore the world of cooking and recipe ratios. So students can engage in hands-on activities, cooking activities, where they will measure ingredients, scale recipes. They can experiment with different ratios to create delicious dishes. It can be done in the classroom as well if you have all those resources. So by visualizing and manipulating ratios, students will develop a deeper understanding of proportions and numerical fluency. And this task connects math to real life applications. As students are going to recognize the importance of ratios in culinary arts and everyday cooking. Through this catchy, I found it catchy and engaging activity, students foster a mathematical mindset as well. They will develop their visualization skills and an openness to numbers in a practical and relatable context. Another one is on financial, I've named it as financial fitness challenge, where they're going to learn essential skills for budgeting, saving, and making informed financial decisions. Students will engage, this can be done with grade 4 or 5. Students can engage in activities such as creating budgets for hypothetical scenarios. They can visualize financial goals and can analyze real life expenses. In fact, they can also create the budget of their family for that particular month. So, by exploring these connections between numbers and personal finance, they develop a mathematical mindset, number fluency, and in understanding the power of visualization in managing these finances. It also empowers students to make informed financial choices, which fosters real life connections and promote a sense of responsibility and confidence in managing their financial futures. And they will not ask for, um, you know, what do I call it? Like they will not, they will be mindful of what they are asking to their parents. And the last one is when students become city planners, and they will be embarking on an exciting adventure of designing sustainable communities. So they will explore concepts such as area, perimeter, scale, proportions, while they're creating maps, designing layouts, and considering environmental factors. The students will visualize and manipulate special elements to create communities that are environmental friendly, socially inclusive, and aesthetically appealing. By connecting math to urban planning and sustainable development, students develop a mathematical mindset again, reasoning skills, and an appreciation for the real life application of math in shaping the world around us. This particular activity or learning engagement also encourages creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving, while fostering a deeper understanding of the power of visualization and numerical fluency in designing these sustainable communities. Inquiry teachers, I'm sure they always look for some kind of TD connections. So I have come up here with the theme how we organize ourselves, and this one I've tried to mix up two tasks which I've already talked about, budgeting and sustainability. So the central idea talks about here on financial decision making impacts on social change and sustainability. Um, So, in this task, the students will delve into the world of social entrepreneurship. They will be focusing on how we organize ourselves to make a positive impact in society. Students can work in small groups to develop a budget for a social enterprise, a business with a mission to address a social or environmental issue. They can start by selecting a social cause they are passionate about, or such as environmental conservation, education, community development, or whatever they can come up with. They can research and brainstorm different business ideas that can align with their chosen cause, and they should be considering about the product or services that can generate revenue while addressing the identified issue. Using their mathematical skills, students can create a detailed budget for their social enterprise, incorporating revenue projections, expenses, and profit margins. They can analyze and calculate costs, pricing strategies, and potential funding sources. They can also explore concepts such as profit and loss, break even points, and financial sustainability. During this task, students will engage in number talks to develop mental calculation skills, estimate costs, and evaluate financial scenarios. They will also visualize and graphically represent their budget plans, enhancing their ability to interpret and present numerical data effectively. Through this, students will develop a mathematical mindset by applying math to real life situations. By understanding the importance of financial organization in social enterprises and recognize the interconnectedness of mathematical thinking and societal change. By managing finances for social impact, students also gain a deeper appreciation for how we organize ourselves to create a better world. As we reach the final stretch of this session, I would like to take a moment to highlight renowned mathematicians who achieved great success despite facing their own fears of math. The first one I'm going to talk about Albert Einstein. He's perhaps the most well known scientist of the 20th century. He's famous for his theory of relativity and for his equation E is equal to mc square. However, how many of you know that Einstein did not have an easy time with math? In fact, he failed his entrance exam to the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich twice before finally being admitted. He's a perfect example how perseverance can pay off even when you struggle with a subject. Ada Lovelace is known as the first computer programmer. She was a mathematician who worked with Charles Babbage on his analytical engine, which was a mechanical computer. Lovelace was able to see the potential of the machine beyond just number crunching and wrote the first algorithm that could be processed by the machine. She's an inspiration to anyone who thinks that math is not just about numbers and formulas. Katherine Johnson. She was a mathematician who worked at NASA during the 1960s. She was responsible for calculating the trajectories of the first American manned space flights. Johnson had to overcome many obstacles as a black woman working in a field dominated by men. She is a reminder that anyone can succeed in math if they're willing to work hard. Terence Tao. She's a mathematician who has made significant contributions to several areas of mathematics, including a number theory and harmonic analysis. He's a recipient of the Fields Medal, which is considered the most prestigious award in math. However, he struggled with math as a child and was not considered a prodigy with like many of his peers. He has said that he had to work hard to develop his mathematical abilities and that anyone can do with the same with enough effort. The last one we have is Mariam. She was a mathematician who was awarded the Fields Medal in 2014. She was the first woman and the first Iranian to receive the medal. She was known for her work on the geometry of surfaces and for developing new techniques to study them. She was also a role model for women in mathematics and showed that anyone can succeed in math regardless of their background or gender. These five mathematicians are just a few examples of people who overcame their fear of math and went on to make significant contributions to the field. Their stories show that anyone can succeed in math if they're willing to work hard. When teachers are presented with lists of content to teach, they often encounter a subject that has been reduced to its fragmented parts, much like a scattered puzzle without a complete picture. These lists of content fail to emphasize the interconnectedness of math, presenting it as though these connections do not exist. Now let's consider an alternative. Would you prefer your students to meticulously arrange and polish individual puzzle pieces all day long? Or Would you rather have them assemble the pieces to reveal a captivating and complete picture? Imagine the satisfaction and joy they would experience as they witness the connections forming, unveiling a masterpiece of mathematical understanding. Math is like a puzzle, is far more than the sum of its individual parts. It's a magnificent tapestry of concepts, patterns, and relationships waiting to be discovered. By fostering an environment that encourages exploration, critical thinking, and the exploration of mathematical connections, we empower our students to piece together the puzzle of math. Through this process, they develop a deep appreciation for the beauty, coherence, and relevance of the subject. As we conclude this session, let us remember that math is not just a collection of isolated facts and procedures, it is a rich and intricate tapestry that invites us to explore, connect, and uncover the hidden wonders within. Now, take a moment to ponder these questions, which you can see on your screen right now, allowing them to provoke deep reflection somewhere inside you. I request you to share your insightful thoughts in the comment section or on the social media, as together we can foster growth by learning from one another. As it says, reflect, share, and grow. Thank you everyone for joining me today. I sincerely hope that this session has been fruitful and beneficial for all of you. If there are any specific topics you would like me to cover in future sessions, please let me know in the comment section. I highly value your thoughts and feedback. Finally, I encourage you to share how you plan to apply the learnings from this session in your classrooms. Your insights and experiences will undoubtedly inspire and support others on their own mathematical mindset journey. You could connect me on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. Thank you once again, and I look forward to our continued exploration of mathematics and its transformative potential. Thank you so much.